Yeah, draft day, Johnny Manziel.
Alrighty, guys, welcome back to Q's Hot Takes. And on today's show, me and my guy Ruff, we're going to react to the NFL draft. Ruff, how you doing today, bro?
What's going on, Keith? I'm doing pretty good. Another day.
Yes, sir. Ruff, to start the show, I thought we'd talk about the teams who had the best drafts. I know on your podcast, you had listed the Jets, Eagles, and Ravens. I also agree with you. I think the Jets, they killed it, getting 3 starters in the first round. They started with Ahmad Sauce Gardner. I think he's going to come in and be a lockdown corner for them. Then they got a star receiver for their young quarterback and Garrett Wilson. And then I don't know why Jermaine Johnson dropped as far as he did. That was really weird. And they picked him up. They traded up to 26 to get him. And then we look at then in the second round, they got a running back in Brees Hall. That's a young quarterback's best friend. So what were your thoughts on the Jets draft overall? I think they're going to be much better next year.
Yeah, like you said, I think those were some good pickups. And Sauce Gardner, I believe, is going to be a guy to have instant impact. When you're talking about corners, that's a position where you kind of need a guy that has flair. And I don't know if you saw his draft outfit. I'm sure you did.
Yeah,
but he showed up. Yeah, man, he showed up ready to flex and put on a show even at draft day. So I like what they did, like you said, by getting another running back. I think that was a position of need. And so it's really gonna come down to quarterback play next year whether they're gonna be a little bit better than they were last year.
Yeah, I was telling my friends, I think the only question that they have now is, are they going to be able to give Zach Wilson enough time to get it to their young star receivers that they have? They have Elijah Moore, Corey Davis, and now you're at Garrett Wilson. I think they're going to be really fun to watch next year. We have to see how much they can improve next year. And then we move to the Ravens. They really killed their draft. They added Cal Hamilton, safety out of Notre Dame. He's going to be a day one starter impact. And then they added Tyler Lindenbaum, the center from Iowa. He's arguably the best center in college. He was arguably the best center in college football last year. And then they added David Ajagbo in the second round. He probably won't play this year. Maybe he can come back later in the season, but they may use this as a redshirt year. They added him in the second round. In the third round, they added Travis Jones, who destroyed the Patriots' first round draft pick at the Senior Bowl. I don't know if you saw that on Twitter, but they had a one-on-one drill, and he was like a varsity player against a JV player. He got bad. And then they added 2 tight ends and Kohler and Likely in the fourth round, who I think are going to be some big targets for Lamar to throw to. And with them trading away Marquise Brown, I think Lamar's got some big targets who are going to be able to get open in the middle of the field with Mark Andrews. And I really like the Ravens draft as well. I think they always kill the draft. So what were your thoughts on their draft overall?
Yeah, I like what they did. Like you said, Kyle Hamilton, that's a guy, man, I think that was a steal for them. He can play, and I think he's going to have a long, productive career, providing he stays healthy. Like you said, Lamar has lost Marquise Hollywood Brown. So I still think they have a need in the wide receiver position.
Yes.
Tongue twisted today. Look,
Yeah.
wide receiver position. I still believe that they have a need. But I think Hollywood wanted to leave because it just comes down to it, man. When you look at the Ravens and their setup, they just don't throw enough. And when you're a wide receiver and you want to get paid, you're not going to get paid catching 3.5 balls a game. You need to be in that 5, 6, 7, reception league, in order for you to get paid. And so I like what the Ravens did. I think that they still need to do some certain things in free agency. See, can they find certain pieces? One person that I would give a look to if I'm the Ravens, can you guess who I'm thinking of? And it's a wide receiver.
No, I can't off the top of my head. No.
Julio Jones.
Oh yeah, if he can stay healthy, that'd be a big target for.
Well, you don't know if he's going to stay healthy, but I just think you got to take the risk if you're Lamar, if you're the Ravens. You need, because you need a guy like that. And not only is Julio still, I believe, a solid receiver when he's on the field, but he has that those accolades. I think he can come in and be a leader in that locker room as well. So I would give Julio a look if I were them. Shoot, I want my Commanders to give him a look.
Yes, we're going to talk about your Commanders shortly. And the last one you mentioned, which upsets me to say this, the Eagles had a very good draft. They got Jordan Davis, and then they traded for A.J. Brown, and then I don't know why Nakobe Dean fell as far as he did. There was some rumors about medical issues, his pec, maybe he had to sit out next year, but I don't care. I'm surprised that nobody picked him up way before when they picked him. I think it was in the third round, if I'm not mistaken. So, unfortunately, the Eagles got much better. Everybody in our division did. Now, the only question is, can Jalen Hurts, make enough throws when his team needs him? Because accuracy is really something he's struggled with his whole life. So, we have to see. But I really hate it because they got so much better in the draft.
Yeah, the Eagles, man, they made some smart moves. And then when you trade for a guy like AJ Brown, that's another reason why they got better. So, like you said, weapons is not going to be an issue this year for them. In previous years, the Eagles fans and Jalen Hurts fans said, "Well, what do you expect out of Jalen? We don't really have the best weapons." Now you have solid running back play, you have solid receiver play, you have a good tight end and Dallas Goedert. Mm-hmm. So it's really, it's really going to come down to what Jalen Hurts is able to do on the football field. Is he going to be accurate? Is he going to be smart? Because sometimes I think he runs too early too. Sometimes I look at Jalen Hurts and I feel like he gives up on the play too early, and just takes off and potentially could have had a receiver open. So, like we said, man, they got better than Kobe Dean. That's going to end up being a major steal in my opinion. I just don't. I know about the injury history that they're saying, but sometimes you have to take risks. Yep. And Kobe Dean is the type of talent that if that injury history does not hinder him, he's going to have a very good career in my opinion.
Yeah, and it's going to be scary. What's left of Fletcher Cox paired up with Jordan Davis in the interior of their line, and then linebacker was something that they desperately needed. So you get a guy like that who's sideline to sideline. So the Eagles are going to be much better next year, and we'll have to see Jalen Hurts can take the next step, or if they'll be drafting the quarterback next year. So we'll have to see. To the teams that we think had the worst drafts, for me, it was the Patriots. I don't know what they were thinking. When I heard they were drafting Cole Strange from Chattanooga, it seemed like a pick out of left field. At first, they were showing his highlight tape on ESPN, and he looked really good. And then I saw him get destroyed at the Senior Bowl by the Ravens draft pick, what's his name, Travis Jones. And then I kind of was a little skeptical about him. I feel like they reached on that pick, and then drafting Tyquan Thornton from Baylor in the second round. It was some much better receiver options at the time. So those two picks alone, I feel like they reached on those picks. And considering I feel like they needed to get faster on defense, especially at linebacker, I just knew that they were going to take Nakobe Dean or Devin Lloyd, right? Because both of them were right there at the time. So I was shocked when they reached and grabbed Cole Strange, who probably would have been available in the third or fourth round. So I don't think they need to get him right there. You had the Browns and the Titans. You said on your podcast you thought those two teams had bad drafts. Because when you said that, I had to remember, did the Browns have a pick? Because I didn't remember any of their picks. And then I looked, and they had a very bad draft to me. I know they drafted David Bell. I know he didn't test well. I know that's why he had failed. And I just feel like their draft, I feel like they could have did much better with their draft. And the Titans, of course, they drafted Malik Willis. The corner that they got from Mississippi State, they say one of his things he needs to work on is he can kind of, be too handsy. And, they said he has to work on that because they're going to call those penalties in the league a lot more. And they got the tackle from Ohio State. I think that's really going to help them. And I guess since they took Malik Willis, I'm wondering if Ryan Tannehill, if he's going to be on the clock and if he doesn't show them something, maybe they go to the young gun and Malik Willis. So we have to see. What made you say those two teams had the worst drafts to you?
I agree with what you said about the Browns and their pick and Bills. I just didn't like that pick too much. And I also think that the Browns had certain things that they probably should have tried to move up to do. Um, wide receiver.
Yeah, they could have got a receiver.
They should have probably tried to trade a player somewhere. One of their players, trade a player and see can you get up and get a draft pick and trade a wide receiver. Because you still don't know what's going to happen with Jarvis Landry. Is he going to come back? We don't know right now. The Titans, the Willis pick I like, but I don't think is a short-term pick. I think they kind of got him as a project.
Okay.
I feel like there were other quarterbacks they potentially could have got that would be more ready. And then when you talk about Tannehill, yeah, he came out and said he didn't know anything about it, but he said he did reach out to him after, and congratulated him on being drafted. One team that I meant to put and I didn't, Dallas Cowgirls.
Oh my God.
The Dallas Cowgirls / Cowboys, or however you want to call them, they did not have a good draft.
Okay. I'm sorry you feel like that. I know we're going to grade our team's drafts here very shortly. Oh yeah, they got Traylon Burke. I forgot to mention him to replace AJ Brown. I guess they didn't want to pay AJ Brown the top receiver money because it seems like all the receivers want to get paid after Tyreek got his money. It seemed like everybody wants to opt out and get a new contract, trying to reset the market. Brought it up. Why don't we grade our team's drafts? Our first round pick, Tyler Smith. I remember when they announced the pick, I did throw my T-shirt because I just knew we were gonna get Nakobe Dean or Jermaine Johnson. I just felt like it was destined for us to get one of those impact players on defense. I feel like we needed another linebacker to pair with Micah Parsons, and we needed to replace Randy Gregory on our defensive line. So Tyler Smith, they showed his tape. He's very good as a run blocker. I feel like he's a project when it comes to pass blocking, but I feel like he's going to open up some holes for Zeke in the run game. I guess he's going to play left guard because we need a left guard. We let Connor Williams go. But the thing that confused me was Tyler Smith had 16 penalties in college, and we let Connor Williams go because he was holding too much. And every time we would get a big play, it would get called back because Connor Williams was holding. He got bull rushed. He got overwhelmed. And considering we had Tyler Lindenbaum right there for us to take, I wanted us to get him because, like Shannon Sharp was saying on Undisputed, our running game hasn't been the same since Travis Frederick retired with that disease he had. And it hasn't been the same. And our linemen, they haven't been able to stay healthy. And the center is the biggest piece of your offensive line because they do all the calls and stuff like that. And Tyler Smith, ever since a Cowboy fan put up a picture of him and Amari Cooper side by side, they look just alike. He looked like he could be Amari Cooper's little brother. And then we go to the second round. We drafted Sam Williams, defensive end. He's a luxury pass rusher. Really, all he does is fly off the edge. His speed is explosive. I have to see. I feel like we could have waited and got him in the third round. And if we went ahead and took Jalen Tolbert from South Alabama with that second round pick, I could understand that, But I feel like Sam Williams would have still been there. I'm excited to see what he can do. He's very fast off the edge, so I'm hoping he can help us replace Randy Gregory. Then we move to Jalen Tolbert, receiver from South Alabama in the third round. We picked him up. I really like him. When he catches the ball, he does have some bad drops at times. But when he catches the ball, he's hard to bring down. And he didn't really have a great quarterback at South Alabama. I was looking at some of his highlights, and the quarterback, he'd be wide open, and they bounced it to his feet. So I know that was very frustrating, but he still put up big numbers, and he didn't really have a great quarterback. So I'm excited about that pick. I think he's going to be our third receiver behind Michael Gallup and CeeDee Lamb. I like this pick because I don't know when Michael Gallup's going to be ready because he's coming off an ACL injury. So I doubt he'll be ready to start the season. I didn't like our fourth round pick. We drafted Jake Ferguson, a tight end from Wisconsin. Uh, Isaiah Likely was right there for us to take. I know the Cowboys probably have never looked at Coastal Carolina, but I looked at Coastal Carolina a lot. And every time I would watch a Coastal Carolina game, he would make a big play. He's a big, tall tight end who can really stretch the field. He's hard to bring down, and that's what I wanted the Cowboys to take. Jake Ferguson, the Cowboys like receivers, tight ends who have a big yards after catch radius. So he doesn't really, have a great yards after catch radius. So that pick really upset me. We drafted Deron Bland from Fresno State in the fifth round. He's a very fast corner. I think maybe he can be a rotational corner. And then we got Damone Clark from LSU. He's not going to play this year. He had a spinal fusion surgery. They discovered something when they were doing his medicals at the combine, and he's going to redshirt this year. And then we got John Ridgeway, fifth round pick, 178, 2 picks later. He's a nose guard. He's a run stuffer. That's all he's going to be on the field for. Then we got, in our final pick, we got Devin Harper, who's a linebacker, very fast. He's undersized, but I'm really excited to see what we can do with him this year, paired with Michael Parsons. And the pick that I'm probably most excited about was Marquise Bell from Florida A&M that we picked up as an undrafted free agent. If you turn on his tape, he's one of the best safeties in college football. I don't know how he didn't get drafted, but he's a very physical safety, and he's not afraid to stick his nose in there and make physical plays on whoever has the ball. So I'm excited to get him in Dallas, and I think he's going to make some big plays for our defense because every time he's near the ball, he's making a big play, whether it's a hard tackle or stripping the ball away. So overall, I'll give us a C minus. We did take care of some needs, and I think we kind of reached for a lot of our picks. So that's why I'm not going any higher than the C minus because I feel like a lot of our draft is a lot of what ifs. We don't have no like Hall of Famers in this draft class, but we just have to wait and see a lot with our draft class. So for your Washington Commanders, you got Jahan Dotson, receiver, number 16. He's going to be a really good receiver for whoever plays quarterback for Washington this year. Probably Carson Wentz, to start out. And then another pick that I liked that y'all got was Brian Robertson Jr., the running back from Alabama. And then in the fifth round, unfortunately, y'all drafted my guy Sam Howell, who I proudly will say is going to be the steal of the first round. Steal of the draft, especially at quarterback. So what did you think about your Washington Commanders draft overall?
I didn't love the Dotson pick. I'm sorry. I'm not going to say he can't give us anything, but I think there were better options. I think there were bigger needs. If you wanted to get a wide receiver, I truly feel that we needed a big wide receiver. Dotson weighs like 170 pounds, they said. Yeah, so you're getting another slim guy. McLaurin's not real big. Samuel's not big. How many of these slims and kind of short receivers are we going to get? Sometimes you got to have a guy that you can throw the ball up and they'll come down with it. So I didn't love that pick. Also didn't like the Pedarian Mathis pickup for the Commanders. I think that we had bigger needs. And he was projected to go like a round or two later. So I'm trying to figure out what did they see in him to make them take him so early. We love to stay with them Alabama guys. For sure. I think that clearly what this says is that they're thinking about trading Payne because you got another guy that plays his position. But for me, I really didn't like that pick too much. I hope he's able to make me regret saying that, but we shall see. The Brian Robinson pick, I liked it because I believe that Antonio Gibson is a good running back. He's able to catch it and run it. But one of the things that he has an issue with is holding on to the football. He carries that ball like it's a loaf of bread.
He does.
And you got to be able to value the football. That's one thing that I say about the NFL. Sometimes teams win with less talented players. Because if you're a running back and you're just gonna get your 3.5 to 4 yards, but you never put the football in jeopardy, that can help your team win. If you're a quarterback, like a Ryan Tannehill, who's not the most gifted, but he's been able to play kind of smart and not turn it over as much lately, especially, you give your team a chance to win. With Gibson, I feel like he fumbles too often, too much, and key stretches and key moments of a game. And so I think that Brian Robinson will put him on the hot seat. He will bring the best out of him. He'll let him know, okay, if you want to keep fumbling the ball and doing things that's not going to help us win, then we'll be able to put Brian Robinson in and not miss a beat. So I like that pick. The Sam Howell pick, it kind of surprised me a little bit, but we need a quarterback that we could potentially have in the future. I don't know that Wentz is a long-term answer.
Nope.
I'm gonna be honest. I don't know that Howell's a long-term answer either.
Whoa.
But he does have an upside. It's just gonna be a matter of whether he can reach it, reach his potential, and give us what we need. So overall, I was okay with the draft. I didn't really like it or dislike it. If I had to grade it, I would give us a C+, I guess.
Well, I will say Sam Howell does throw the best deep ball of any of the quarterbacks in the draft. So with these speedy gadget receivers that y'all have, I think if he ever gets on the field this year, I think you'll definitely see a difference in the Washington Commanders football team for sure. So we have
He's
to
not going to see the field. He's not going to see the field this year unless Wentz gets hurt. I mean, you didn't trade for Wentz to play Sam Howell. I'm just saying.
How do you feel about the Carson Wentz pick? And would you consider y'all to have a good offensive line? Would you say Washington has a good offensive line?
I think Washington has a good offensive line. I wouldn't say great, but I do. I like our line okay, especially we just signed Trey Turner.
Oh yes, I saw that. Yes.
5-time Pro Bowler, and he's still only 28 years of age. So I believe that I think that our line is going to be solid this year for sure. It's going to come down to Wentz regaining his confidence, because Carson Wentz showed you when he was healthy and when he was confident that he is a capable quarterback. I mean, he was in the MVP race, would have won it probably had he not got hurt.
Exactly.
But it looks like in the last few years he's kind of lost his confidence, and so we're going to need him to build that back up. And if he can, I think that it will be a solid team this year for sure. I still, like I said earlier, I want us to get a big receiver. I know Julio has those injury concerns. His hamstring is tight every 2 weeks. But but I think that you gotta give him a chance. If he'll come there on a low contract, not a whole lot of money, kind of prove it deal, or incentive based deal, then I would do it. I really would, because like I said, we have the guys that are speedy, like you said, and kind of small, but we need that guy that can go up and get it. And so I would give Julio a chance.
But I don't know if you saw, like when they showed the Jahan Dotson highlights on ESPN, he will go up and get that ball. He made some ridiculous catches at Penn State, but like you said, he's a thin receiver. So I guess you probably would have wanted him to go with somebody like Traylon Burks or somebody like that. Because I thought Jahan Dotson was going to be available late first round. I was surprised that they traded that pick, because y'all traded back. And, Chris Olave was still available. So maybe somebody like that, maybe. So we'd have to see. But the key for Washington is you got to keep Carson Wentz upright, because I will tell you, once you hit him a couple times, he's going to pack it up like a chair at a family cookout. I'm telling you right now, you hit him once or twice, he's going to be done for the day. So y'all just got to keep him upright and make sure he don't take too many hard hits, because, like I said, he'll fold up like a chair at the cookout. So why don't we talk about our HBCU prospects that got drafted? We went from 0 last year during the pandemic. Unfortunately, the HBCU combine got canceled last year. But regardless, I still think we should have had some HBCU prospects drafted last year. But we had 4 this year, and I want to celebrate them on the show today. So first, we'll start with Joshua Williams. He went in the 4th round. with the 135th pick to Kansas City. He's a corner, lockdown corner from Fayetteville State. Then we had 7 picks later, the Kobe Durant, another lockdown corner from South Carolina State. He got drafted by the Los Angeles Rams with the 142th pick. And then James Houston from Jackson State. He's a outside linebacker / defensive end. He got selected with the 217th pick. And a cool backstory about Detroit. Their general manager, Brad Holmes, he graduated from North Carolina A&T. So I was glad to see him drafting HBCU players, and hopefully they'll continue to draft HBCU players while he's the general manager of Detroit. And then Jatari Carter in the 7th round with the 226th pick. Chicago drafted him. He's a guard, but he can play a bunch of positions on the offensive line. And I was really glad that the Bears picked him up because last year their offensive line, they couldn't block a stop sign last year, and Justin Fields was getting killed. So I'm definitely excited, and hopefully he can help them this year because they need protection for their young quarterback. So Ruff, what did you think about our 4 HBCU prospects that got drafted this year?
I think it's progress, man. Of course, I feel like there should have been more than 4,
Amen.
but we have to take what we can get, and keep pushing, keep building. I love all 4 of the picks. Like you said, the Bears really needed offensive line help. One thing about the Rams pick too, the Kobe Durant, Torrey Woodbury.
Oh yeah, from West Salem State.
Burry, yes, it's from West Salem State. So I'm sure he was probably pushing for them to, take a HBCU guy. I think all 4 of those people that were drafted field positions of need.
I do so.
And James Houston, like I said, we talked about off camera, I felt like Washington should have went and tried to get him. I think he can really play. I think he's going to be an asset to that team. And so Coach Prime got a draft pick this year. That's great. Great job that he's doing down there at Jackson State and doing for HBCUs in general. So like I said, man, I'm happy for all 4 of those guys. We did have numerous other guys get signed as undrafted free agents. Yes. Like Ron Hunt from A&T, wide receiver, Jermaine Martin from A&T, running back, Akil Glass, quarterback. So we had a lot of guys that got undrafted free agent contracts or either are invited to minicamp.
Yes.
So, now they have another opportunity to go to minicamp and show that they belong. And I believe that a lot of those guys are going to be able to do that. And we're going to expound upon this. Hopefully we can get 8 next year. And we can double this year. That would be great.
Yeah, that would be good. So some fun facts here. The last time the CIAA had a player drafted was 2018 when Trenton Canton from Virginia State got drafted. And Fayetteville State hasn't had a draft pick. This was crazy when I saw this on Twitter. Since 1976. That was crazy when I saw that. James Godwin, a running back, he got drafted by the Jets when they had 16 rounds. He was the 437th pick. So Fayetteville State hasn't had a draft pick in a very long time. So Joshua Williams, definitely won't be the last draft pick from Fayetteville State because they have a very talented team every year. So I'm happy for them. And like you said, I want to keep building on this, and hopefully one day we can get HBCU players drafted in the 1st and 2nd rounds like they used to back in the old days, instead of waiting till day 3 to, get picked up. Hopefully we can start seeing a couple come off the board in rounds 1 and 2. So, but great progress from 0 to 4. We'll take it, but we want to continue to build on this. And this was the 4th time in the last 11 years that 4 HBCU players have been drafted. So we'll take the win, but we, like you said, just want to keep building on it.
South Carolina State University, they have NFL pedigree. Mm-hmm. Eagles defensive tackle, Javon Hargraves is from there. And coach Darius Leonard, who's one of the best defensive players in football right now, is from South Carolina State. So they have, a few guys that's in the league. One thing that I just wanted to point out.
Yeah, so hopefully South Carolina State can, continue that pipeline to the NFL. That would be great. To close out the show, a new segment that I'm going to try out today is called My Closing Take. So Coach Deion Sanders, Coach Prime, he visited his good friend and coach Vincent, Mississippi Valley State. And when he went there to tour their facilities and stuff like that, here's what happened.
That's what I did today. Baby, I got the car pulled up. I told my dear friend, Coach Vincent Dancy of Mississippi Valley State, that I was gonna pull up, and guess what I did? Pulled up, surprised my dog. Yeah, met his whole entire staff. I got to kick it with him, talk to him, showed me his training room, showed me the equipment room, showed me all kind of rooms, and then we went out to that place that, see, I was injured, I was in the hospital, I wasn't able to make it to this game, but it was a tough game, it was a great game, and he talked to me about some of the trials and the tribulations that they have at Mississippi Valley State, amongst others. And I asked him, where's the practice field? You showed me the game field, where's the practice field? I said, shouldn't it be like right there? He said, no, we have tennis courts there, but I'm gonna take you there. I said, what do you mean take me there? It's about a mile away from our complex. So I'm like, is this Children of the Corn or the practice field? Hold on, go back to that. You got to be kidding me. Hold on, you mean to tell me, stop the darn tape. This is the practice field? All right, we gotta do something about that. Also, he took me and showed me around the campus, which was a wonderful, beautiful campus. Then he showed me the locker room that we were in when we came down to participate, to play a game against them. Then one of his running backs rolled up on us. Caleb Johnson is a flat out dog. I'm telling you, the guy is gonna be a pro one day. Put up on us. We went to lunch at this wonderful place that you're seeing on the screen, and it was a wonderful day.
After I seen all that, it's time for me to go to work. It's my objective to help Coach Dancy and his staff and those wonderful athletes down there. We got to build them a game field. I know it's not going to be turf, it's going to be a grass field, but I need you to help me maintain it, keep it beautiful and green so they excel. Then we're going to work on the practice field, but I'm going to need your help financially. I'm going to need your help in, what city is it? Inabita? Did I say that right? If I ain't say that right, don't get mad at me. I'm just trying to help. All right? We need your help. I need you to get at me as soon as possible because I want to start building this field ASAP. Help me, help them. Coach Dancy is my dude. We got to help those kids. God bless you. That's out.
I hope they're able to help Mississippi Valley State because that looked like a peewee field that they practice on, and their stadium didn't look that great either. And I found out that they're they have one of the lowest budgets in the SWAC, so that probably contributes to why they have such a small field. So I want to give Coach Prime his flowers for wanting to help out his good friend, and hopefully they're able to do something nice for Mississippi Valley State, and hopefully they're able to improve their field because it's going to be hard for them to get recruits and stuff like that with their limited budget and stuff. So hopefully Coach Prime is able to help out for sure.
Definitely, man. We have to continue to support these HBCUs with in any way that we can, and hopefully, people in position of power, position of wealth, will donate and pour back into those schools.
For sure, I guess because it looks like Mississippi Valley is in the rural part of Mississippi, so maybe that's why they don't really have the space on their campus for like the practice field and stuff like that, and that's maybe why they have to go. I guess it looked like they had to go down the street for their practice. So definitely hope people in power can help them, and we'll have to wait and see if they're able to get something done before the season. Ruff, thank you again for joining the show, bro. It's definitely fun talking about the draft with you. Do you want to shout out your pages and where people can find your podcast?
Yeah, no problem at all. Good talks. You can find my podcast on Apple Music, Spotify, all of those platforms. The Time Out Sports Podcast. You can find the Twitter at Time Out Sports 3. Again, Time Out Sports 3. Sports is all caps. The Instagram is Time Out Sports with 2 underscores. And also follow my WNBA League Fits page where I highlight the fashion and the outfits of the ladies in the WNBA. The Instagram is WNBA League Fits, and the Twitter is Fits_WNBA.
Yes, sir. So y'all make sure y'all tap in and support Ruff and interact with him because on his Time Out Sports Twitter page, sometimes he'll do trivia and fun stuff like that. So just make sure y'all network and connect with him. And thank you again for joining the show, Ruff.
No problem. Take care, Keith.
You too.